Okay, so welcome to week 5 of the Strength Without Strain series of shorter classes, so up to 30 minutes. And this week we're concentrating very much on balance as our sort of mode towards strength. So clearly a lot of leg work. We're doing also some rotations and openings for the hips. So let's get going. So we'll start with a little bit of a shakeout just to kind of arrive and loosen up those tighter areas. So just a loose shakeout, however you want to do that. Get a little bit creative to just open, twist, and loosen. The breath as well. Okay, so we're going to do a diaphragm, more of a obvious diaphragm release than that, which does work on releasing around the centre, so that's good work in itself. But we'll do a little bit more warming up, more powerful movement that most of you will be familiar with. So I've got my feet either hip distance apart or even shoulder distance apart. So I'm going to let the arms come forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, and just see how that feels. Shoulders, front of the chest, in that opening movement. Think more for more of a sense of the pulling back of the arms, or someone else pulling back, and then you just get a bit of momentum going by relaxing and releasing forward. Okay, so we're going to let the legs join in and make the movement bigger. So sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back, sit back. Let the arms go, let the arms go. Sit back, sit back, sit back. Okay, so lengthen, sit back, 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 and bring in the breath if you want to. Out breaths, out breath. So really using the legs to power you up, not just assuming your arms are going to get you out of trouble free. Yeah, so can the legs and the side body be involved in the movement? And a few more, just to make sure you're warm and lengthened and able to move in the joints of the legs. And slow that up, slow that up. Okay, so just inviting a pause for a moment to just get feedback from how the body is after that exertion. So feeling the pulsing of the heart maybe under the top hand, bottom hand, somewhere around the navel. So once you finish and you settle in, just maintaining the length through the spine that you've developed through that practice rather than collapsing in the center. So just finding that length and then being still. Notice what's happening with the breath. If there's a temptation to have the mouth open, if you can, just see if you can close the mouth and breathe through the nostrils. And just noticing the in-breath. And noticing the out breath. And relaxing the shoulders, the jaw, any tightness in the upper body. And feeling the weight through the feet. Okay, so now deep exhale, breath, release the hands away from the body, give the wrists and arms a little bit of a shake out. Okay, so I think it's easy for me. Let's do it from here. So I'm going to step forward. So I know you can't see that front leg, but that front knee is bent. And from there, it's going to be my opposite arm. So whatever leg I've taken forward, it's my opposite arm that I'm just going to allow to swing, as it did to some extent when we were standing to start the diaphragm release swing. So this time we're swinging half the body, and the side is getting the opening. So just feeling the opening on the side. And if you wish to take the arm a little bit further up and in front and across the body, see how that swing feels. So I'm actually peeling the heel off my back foot. You might notice that. So I've got the back toes down, back ball of the foot down. But as I go up, I'm not pushing from my balls of my feet. It just means that the momentum allows me to get a lengthening down through the side body. But the weight comes onto the front leg as you come forward. And if you want to go to the final stage of this one, then you take your gaze to the hand as it goes back. So there's a little bit more of an opening there for the chest. You'll notice as you go back. Obviously the arm swing is a little bit bigger, a little higher. And slow up, slow up. Get yourself back to standing. See how you're feeling standing for your second side, how the working side, if you like, feels compared to the side that was just waiting patiently for its turn. And then stepping forward with the correct leg, which is the opposite leg, opposite arm starts to get swinging, weight goes through that front leg. And extend, 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 extend. Feel the side of the body lengthening, space created inside of the base of the rib cage, so that you get a little bit more sense of diaphragm finding space. And then adding the glance behind you to open it up a little bit more. Relaxing as the arm swings down and opens up. And again, just let that slow up, slow up, slow up. And coming back to standing. Again, just settle for a moment, see how both sides feel. So we've lengthened all the way down the side body. Particularly, we're interested in the release of the diaphragm here. So just take your hands, maybe fingers forward and thumb behind the back of the rib cage, and just tuning in to the breath here. So you might feel a little bit of movement rib cage. And that movement might be forward, but it also might be outwards. Try and relax the shoulders, tricky here. Try and avoid any tension in the throat, the neck area, the jaw area. Releasing my hands, get the wrists to shake out. And I'm going to do just some deeper breaths through movement or moving and breathing integrated, if you like, together. So we're just going to allow the arms to sweep up. So the fingers head towards the sky and we just bring them down. But as we come down, we're going to bend the knees and let the top body soften over the bottom body. Use your feet and your legs to lift yourself back up. Same circuit. And traveling down, let the head and the neck relax, shoulders relax forward. There's movement that we do at the beginning of the sun salutation. That helps. We extend up. Bring the arms, float the arms down, and then allow the top body to also float down over the bottom body. We use the legs first, and then the back starts to get the use. So what we're going to do with the breath is next time you come up, you're going to take an in-breath as well as using the feet to get you up and the legs to get you up. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in as you engage the legs. Breathing out as you float the arms down, and then as you bend the knees, you're letting the top body just relax and release over the bottom body. Use the legs, breathing in to get back, get up, and extend. Look up like that. Out breath. Knees bend, hips bend, back can release, lower back included. In breath 2. Work the legs, work the back, work the sense of extension through the spine. And again, falling forward, bend the knees, bend the hips, float the arms down, let the body, upper body get its chance to rest and release. Use the legs, not the back, to get you going and get you started and get you support. 2 more times. Using your breath if you can. And finish it off whenever you get the arms back down by your side. Don't need to bend the knees and go down again, if you want to. So the idea of taking those bigger movements as well as to relax the upper body over the lower body and to start to get into this idea of the legs as your link to your lengthening phase by giving weight, pressing down through the feet, the legs to support you getting up as far as they can, and then obviously the back muscles will start to be required. But it's a whole body sensation through the lift. But that slow movement is also supporting us with how does the breath work here? could actually the breath lead me through rather than me trying to attach a breath somewhere in the movement. And that kind of takes time to make sense of. So playing around a little bit with that, particularly if you like it, and liking that just means it feels good. Nothing more complicated than that. Okay, so I'm usually quite calming for the breath to just deepen and extend the breath, just slow the breath down. And to do that with movement, we just keep the energy going without collapsing into just on our way into snoozing. Okay, so we're going to do a few movements to support balance, which is supporting stability, which is supporting strength in the legs, and we've already been doing them. But the focus is now specifically around that. So bringing the feet closer in together, something kind of like fist distance between the feet maybe. And from here, we're just doing a little, in a way, what we were doing when we were doing that bigger movement across the body, but we're just doing the bit with the leg. And all we're doing is we're peeling the heel off the floor on this one. You could call your support leg. So as you do that, notice how stable the opposite leg can be. Stable leg, really grounded. They're not pushing back into the back of your knee. Just keep that soft so that you're not just bone on bone, but the muscles that need to activate, do activate. And again, just keep the spine long and sense of length through the body as you peel the heel on whichever side you've chosen. The other leg feels strong. So we're getting a little bit done with this leg, this empty leg or this support leg. But the idea is we just peel the heel. So peeling the heel means rather than saying push into the ball of the foot, we want the ball of the foot to be fairly light. So get more contact, but the idea really is to release the joints and find lightness in this leg, while this leg can be doing some work here. Okay, and back into two legs. Allow the weight to kind of drift over to what was your support leg. And take that weight and just see how that feels, taking the weight now in the lighter leg. So already, before I've actually peeled the heel on this side, I already feel this leg's lighter. So then think, okay, now I can peel the heel. Peel the heel. So to peel the heel, obviously the knee comes forward and the hip releases. And it's as smooth and as light as I can make it, trying to avoid pushing back in my knee of the strong leg. And I'm trying to just keep balance from the pelvis rather than hiking up one or t'other of the legs here. Okay. And onto two legs. Give way through both legs. Just for a moment, really give way. So even create a push down through both feet. Engage the inner thighs, engage around the pelvic floor, and just get a sense of that general uplift through the body. Arms can relax at the side of the body. And just notice if that engagement has gone to 10 too far, and therefore you can't breathe. So get back to the breath. Turn down the engagement by half. Making sure that any engagement that actually ends up going through the butt just stay in the butt and doesn't get into the lower back or feel like there's any creation of discomfort or pain in the lower back. Okay, and relax. Let's just loosen up, do the opposite, just loosen everything. Light legs, light legs, light legs. Let the whole body have a jiggle. Okay, and back to feet fist distance apart. So we're going to bring one knee up in a moment, take it into internal rotation, that's into the center, take it to outward rotation, that's knee out to the side, and then bring the foot back to the floor, and that creates kind of like a spiral to get the foot, the toes facing forward again. Okay, making that sound much more complicated than it is. We're going to go from one leg to the other leg. It's quite a common hip opening movement that you might do on a coaching session, running coaching session, or drills that you might do, but we're slowing it down, and we might be focusing slightly different than what you would be doing during that exercise. Less energy, much more control in this version. And maybe just see how this feels. Some people it might support you, and other people it might make no difference. So just taking your hands to the bony bits of the pelvis, bring up your favourite leg, and take that internal rotation. Your knee is kind of just below the hip or around the hip. Take that out to an external rotation, and then spiral. What I mean by that is just bring the foot back to where you started. Opposite knee comes up and in. It gets a swing out to the side, and it then just spirals back into where it started, into center. So a little bit quicker. Knee in, knee to the side, spiral back in. Opposite leg, knee in, knee out. Return the foot to where you started. Okay, so there's going to be an opening, but you're trying to keep your hips and your pelvis where you can in terms of stability. So where you can means minimal movement for what's required in terms of the rotation. So with the hands on the hips or on the pelvis, it just gives you an indication what's swinging and what's giving up, what's dropping, what isn't. So we'll just do one more on this side. Second side, hopefully. If not, do one on the other side, just get yourself even. And reset. Okay. So we'll move through to a bit more, to some extent, of a balance that but we test a little bit more where you are with your balance and your stability. So again, feet may be broadly in that tighter position, that kind of fist distance apart. So you feel the stability through both legs, rooted through both feet for the moment. Lengthen through your upper body so you can feel the lightness through your upper body. If you collapse, the chances are there's greater risk of the wobbling around. Okay, so you can either watch the first one or you can join in. So basically, my knee comes forward, my knee goes into external rotation. I'm going to keep my hands here just to avoid too much swiveling of this leg. And then I'm just pointing the toe as if I'm going to touch the floor, but I don't quite touch the floor. I come back up, I come back in, and I do the same movement. I just touch as if I'm putting my toes into water and bringing them back up. Take them out. It's a bit balletic, but you don't have to think of it in that way. You don't have to think ballet legs. You just need to take the toes towards the ground or towards the imaginary water. Bring them back up. Take them out. External rotation. Center and down. Lengthen. Light thoughts on the upper body. Lengthening. Stable thoughts on the legs, particularly the leg that's doing all the work, maybe burning somewhere now. And finishing off on your first side. Okay, I can feel things working now from that, because we've been doing quite a lot of weight on one leg, a lot of weight on the other leg, and now I take it into keeping the leg both moving and going slowly and kind of changing the movement, which changes the kind of gravity position to some extent. So we're having to really orientate ourselves back into center. Okay, you've done your favorite leg, so it's the second leg. So wrist distance apart, maybe hands on pelvis if it helps. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. You can leave the hands out of it. Knee forward, knee to the side. So if you're touching water, knee back up, knee forward. Okay, so we don't rotate out so much that we lose this central rotation, this central position. Otherwise, we've lost the stability in the movement. And if your toes end up touching the floor, sometimes mine do. It's kind of not an intention, but sometimes I just take them too far down. Not the end of the world, just to touch the floor. And if you prefer to touch the floor, then do that. And remembering this stable leg, strong leg, not to push back too much in the back of the knee, because that will just create a false sense of security. You want muscles to work, not bone on bone. Okay. And keeping that light touch on the upper body. And can you keep the breath? So one more after this. Strong work. Oops, got that side of it on there. Okay. And whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, shake out. Okay, so just something to play with, if you want to play with it. Don't have to, up to you. So it's again, one we do quite a lot, but I'm going to add in a little bit more of a potential challenge. So you see what you feel like at this stage, whether you want a challenge or you've had enough. So bringing my knee up and then rounding my back to access my ankle. And then I'm going to let that leg go and I come out to this side. And I can see where my knee kind of arrives, but I'm looking for my knee to go either straight down or even slightly further back. So I've got some work going on at the front of the thighs, front of the quads. I'm relaxing my back arm, shoulder down and away. It's fine to release the shoulder. And I've got a stable leg, hopefully. I can extend with my opposite arm, so I've got that lightness, that sense of reach, that support through the center. And I can breathe here. And if things feel okay, the option from here is to bend that stable leg on the floor and to just pivot forward a little way. Don't pivot very far. Pivot to where you pivot, careful, says he, with the balance. And find your way back to the reach position. And again, round the back in order to release the knee carefully and bring the foot back down to the floor. So that wasn't a particularly good example. I had a little bit of a wobble. But at the end of the day, that's kind of likely, at least for part of it, even though we've done a lot of stabilising work. So you need to know that you're going to be safe, because once you start, if you wobble a bit, it's not so bad. But if you're going to wobble a lot, then, I've done a lot of this by using a worktop, so that when I come forward, I know I can have the support of the worktop or a very stable table. Whatever works for you in terms of that stability. So, second time, second sign, you go to where you get to. So knee comes up, round the back to get access to the ankle. Knee goes down, you're just interested where the knee arrives. The release of that back shoulder. And then just see whether the knee can go a little bit further back to release a little bit more through. The pelvis might come forward a little bit in order to release the quad a little bit, so get a little bit of lengthening there. Opposite arm goes up to give you the length on the opposite side. And you feel that length, that support, the breath, stable leg. And then if you want to bend that leg and just see how it goes to hinge. Oh, hard today. Right. Okay. And push, 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 push to find your way back. And extend before you then round the back. Knee forward and foot down. Okay. So we'll just have a little bit of a hip release. So figure 8 option. So that was quite tough for me. And I think some of the reason it was tough is it's great doing all the stability work first, but you can get so far with stability work that actually your legs start to get tired. So that's my excuse today. I can think of another one for another day, but I did find it quite difficult. It's useful for you to see me find it difficult, recognising it is difficult, and I haven't got everything sussed apart from it. So playing around with it is useful to think of it as a play rather than really serious and getting yourself in the right diz if you can't do it. So it's fine to the first stage, second stage, or move into that balance. As I say, the easiest thing to kind of get going if you want the support is to just do something that is going to give you that stability in the centre. And you won't lose your balance and you'll be safe. And then you start to do without. Okay, and shake out. Shake out, maybe a little bit of a shake out and a little bit more of a loosening up for your jiggle from side to side. Okay, so post jiggle we'll finish, and that's your balance. Leg strength, pelvic stability, hip opening sequence in the strength without strain. So we're trying to develop the strength, develop the stability, and then increase the mobility and the range that we feel we can work from that point. Okay, thank you for joining me. So we've got one more in this series, so see you next week. Take care and thank you.